After importing the Prefab Master tool into your project, you can simply go to the Tools section in the top menu and select the Prefab Master tool. When you do this, a new window will appear. Drag and place this window in the area you want. The Prefab Master tool consists of 6 sections. These are Organize Objects, Assign Component, Toggle Object, Rename Object, Add Object, and Delete Object. Each section can be opened and closed so you can focus on the area you are working on. Let's take a look at the Organize Objects tab and see how it makes our job easier. The Organize Objects tab contains 10 groups. Each group can be renamed, and you can filter the scenes you want to add this group to. Each group has a group list where you can add prefabs. There is also an Update button and a Delete button. Okay, now let's see what the Organized Objects feature does. Let's imagine that we need to add more than one light source to all scenes in our project. As in this example, I have different light sources and I want to add them to all scenes in an organized manner. To do this, I first change the group name to Light Sources. Then I select the relevant prefabs and drop them into the list. After doing this, I decide which scenes to select. You can select all of them, but I will disable the loading scene in this scenario. Then we press the Update button. As you can see, an object named Light Sources has been added to our scene, and it keeps all the relevant prefabs as child objects. The loading scene is also disabled as we wanted. What happens if I want to update my group after my objects are created? For example, let's say I don't need the Spotlight object anymore, and I want to delete it from all related scenes. This is very simple. Just delete the related object from the group list and click the Update button. That's it. The Spotlight object is no longer included in our group. So, what happens if I want to add a new object after creating the group? For example, I create a new light source and add it to the Prefab folder. Then I add it to the Light Sources group and click the Update button. As you can see, updating your groups after creating them is that easy. Can I change the name of my group after creating it? For example, can I change the name of the Light Sources group to just Lights? Of course, that's possible. Now let's look at the Assign Component tab. With this feature, you can assign the components of an object to the script of another object in all scenes. It is mostly useful for growing and developing projects. For example, in this scenario, we have a source object and a target object. Our source object has a box collider and a rigid body component. Our target object has a target script that requires these components. Let's assign them using our tool. First, I drag and drop my source object to the relevant section. Then I do the same for my target object. When I do this, 2 extra sections appear called Select Script and Select Component. If your object has only one script, this script is automatically selected. But if there is more than one, you need to select the relevant script yourself. After selecting the relevant script, we select which components to assign. As you can see, the name of the components and their type are listed in parentheses. I select both components and press the Assign button. The components of the source object are added to the target object as we wanted. Okay, now let's look at the Toggle Object tab. In this tab, you can toggle the visibility, pickability, and activity of any object. For example, let's select the main camera object and disable the visibility box. Then let's click the Toggle button. As you can see, the main camera object is no longer visible. Now let's try the others. If you want to undo what you did, just click the relevant boxes again. Okay, let's examine the Rename Object tab. In this section, you can rename one or more objects with the same name in all scenes. For example, we have an object called Game Object. Let's create several copies of it. Then I drag the object called Game Object to the relevant section. Then I specify a new name for my object, for example, Enemy. If I select the Include All Similar box, the name of all objects with the same name will change. Let's try it. As you can see, the name of all objects has changed. You can use the Add Object tab for single objects that you do not want to include in the Organize Objects tab, or that you want to add to all scenes individually. To do this, Simply drag the prefab you want to add and press the Add button. The Delete Object tab, like the Rename Object tab, allows you to perform operations on one or more objects with the same name. For example, let's say I have more than one object with the same name in this scene, and I want to delete them all. Simply drag and drop the object to the relevant section, and then select the Include All Similar box. That was all. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions or requests, you can review the documentation and reach us from the contact address there.